So it is my honor to be here with you. I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath. And maybe again. Let me just look at you. You guys are so beautiful. You're welcome. My name is Wendy Welborn. I'm a chaplain and a licensed practitioner here at the center. And I want to say good morning and happy last Sunday of 2025. Yes, big round of applause because, as my grandmother would say for 2025, it was something else. My gran, it's her birthday today. She would have been 114, so we know that she's with us. Yeah, she was a feisty little spunky thing, and every female in my family has that gene. So you guys don't really know me very well. I'm new here. I began a year ago. I was joined, I think, with Karen in the very last community membership drive in our old building. So I've been here about a year. And part of the time, I've been commuting back and forth from Marin. And that was because I was completing a chaplaincy rotation in San Francisco. And in September, I graduated. And in October, I came down here to rest. And in November, I got a job. And so now I'm here. And I'm new. And I think that's really cool to be new. I love you guys too. And being new at this turning of the year into the new year, right? Because the theme for Centers for Spiritual Living this Sunday is to release, refresh, and renew. That's quite a lot of talk to smush into 20 minutes. So I think I'm just going to focus on the limitless renewal that we are. That there is nothing limitless about us. And I think we need to shift the story. 2025, my grandmother would have been accurate. Something else. She used to call me that when she was mad at me. I'm something else. And when she was proud of me, she was like, honey, you are something else. So I think maybe we need to shift the story of 2025 from something else to 2026 being something else. Think we can do that? Just change our energy? Because really, that's all it takes. We have stories that we've been told all our lives. And we have heard them and they have embedded them. And we heard a lot of them in 2025. And we know that that's not the truth of who we are. Is it? We are unlimited. We are full and pure unconditional love. We are creatures created by something that loved us so much that it wanted our lives all to be present as we are in our entirety. We spent part of November, probably all of November, I think, talking about how we love the unlikable. How do we integrate that into ourselves and love ourselves? Well, we turn to that creator, God, Spirit, universe, Allah, whatever you call it, and know that it is unconditional love. And that shifts us. It is the resource that we need moving forward from 2025 into 2026. We've been singing about it. Our beautiful. Such a good job, you guys. I'm so proud of you. Right? That what we bring into the new year, the energy we bring into the new year, transforms what happens. So on my new job that I started in the first week of December, a woman looked at me and said, you know, you're not really new. And I thought, I knew what she meant. She knew that I knew what I was doing. But the reality was, and it was wild, it came up from the center of my gut, and this is what I said to her. It didn't come from the front of my brain. I said, I am new with every breath I take. And she looked at me and said, wow, that's beautiful. And I said, it's the absolute truth. That there is nothing that happens that cannot be transformed by taking a deep breath. Would you join me again? As we breathe into that aware space, that breath, we are transformed. We cannot go back to the less aware space. And with every single moment that we take a breath and we do it in awareness, awareness kind of piles on us. We become more and more aware. And once you've stepped into that awareness, there's no going back. In Romans 12:2, I shift to this because Paul lived in a time such as ours. I know Reverend Elisha spoke about it maybe over the solstice Sunday. Paul lived under the Roman Empire as a Christian, and they were persecuted continuously. The Romans believed that the only people who were truly human were white or Roman males. I don't know if they were actually white. But that is the truth. That's the history behind that. And anybody else was less than. It feels very familiar, doesn't it? Well, Paul tells them, writing this letter, he says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world." Don't believe what they're telling you, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you start to believe the stories that they're telling you, your ability to imagine your own life shrinks. I kind of had that experience with this power failure. Those of you who know me know that I live in a motorhome. Her name is Maxine. She's 40 feet long. She's 26,000 pounds. I am robust. I am well-resourced. She has 4 batteries that are solar-powered, and she has a giant generator and 60 gallons of gas. And yet, when the power failure happened, I went into conservative mode, because that is what had always been done. And I thought, this is weird, because I have all of this available, but it was kind of a bodily response. And I was like, why am I there? Well, I was checking the PG&E website to see how long it would be out, and they told me 12/26, 11:02 p.m., and this is 6 in the morning, 12:25. And I thought, that is a really odd time. Who came up with 11:02? Who was up in the night thinking that up? And I thought, that's odd. But it didn't change my tension. I kind of stayed in that space of like, oh, I believe that story, so I stayed conservative. I could have had TV. I could have had radio. I could have had friends over. We could have had a party. I had everything worked in my motorhome because of how I had planned for my life. I was well-resourced. But I didn't. And when the power came on, it felt like, whew, and I threw all that tension onto the floor, and I went, wow, what a relief. And I thought, why did I actually not enjoy this? And it's because I bought into the story that PG&E told me about the time. Because the power came back on 12:25 at 7:35 p.m. I could have gone for 5 days. I knew that logically. I knew that intuitively. Part of my brain was like, Wendy, this isn't true. And I kind of failed as a practitioner because I should have listened to my intuition. Because that, I believe, is a direct line from God. So when that intuition was like, that can't be real, I should have been like, you're right, it's not real. Let's bake a cake. But I didn't. I hunkered down. I wrote this one version of this talk. There's been several. And I was like, how odd that I did this. And I thought, oh, probably just to share this story with you, that we actually easily buy into the stories that someone else tells us. And for 2026, my encouragement is for us to let those stories go and create new stories. Because in that tension, I couldn't imagine anything else but the power coming back on in 12:26, 11:02. And what really happened was not that. Ernest Holmes tells us in Science of Mind that principle, God's source, the universe, is not bound by precedent. God is not attached to the past. That's what that means. There needs to be no attachment. If we limit our idea by the things that have happened in the past, we're going to limit what comes to us going forward, right? And then he says, through intuition, which I ignored, sorry, I'm learning, I'm still human. And through the stories that we tell ourselves in new imagining, a new story, faith finds its proper place in divine law. We change our world by our imagining. We're going to do a ritual today, a ritual of release. What are you holding on to? What has come with you from 2025? What do you want to leave behind? What's come from since you were born? Were you told you were not enough? Were you told that you couldn't do that because you were a girl? I was told that. I've done everything even though I was a girl. I'm a retired adrenaline junkie. I learned how to rock climb when I was 3. I learned how to snowboard in 1988. I was the only girl on the mountain. I'm a mountaineer. When I was told I couldn't be a dancer and a veterinarian, I became a dancer and a scientist. So, a modern dance, by the way, just in case you were wondering. But there are stories that you've been told, and you hold them, and they come with you. And my invitation in this process of ritual, which is one of my favorites, is for us to let that go. So did you all get a piece of paper and a pencil? Good. Anyone not have a piece of paper and a pencil? Ah, there's a gentleman right there. Raise your hand high so we can make sure that you get it. I'm keeping my talk short so we can ritual for as long as we need to. Okay. So, this ritual for me is really special. One, because we are going to release what no longer serves us into our ultimate ancestor, water. In all of the creation stories, we are told that Raven brought the light, and the light shone over the earth, and the earth was covered with water. When Sky Woman came in the Haudenosaunee tribe, when Sky Woman came down to the earth, she found only water, and the animals in the water rose up to meet her and held her abreast of the water, and then they created the land. When we're talking about Genesis and you're reading it, God creates light, and the light shines and reveals that the world has always been covered by water. So water was first. And this, I love the idea that we can release whatever doesn't serve us anymore into something that has been here for so long and seen so much. Indigenous people would tell you it has a life of its own. They refer to it with pronouns. I don't understand those pronouns, I'll be honest. But that it is a living thing. Water is life. So, if you have your tiny, shiny pencil and your piece of paper, this will all be biodegradable. I will lead us in a little meditation of silence, and you're invited to write down whatever it is you don't want to bring forward into 2026. Then, once that is complete, I will invite you with some music from Lauren to come up, maybe single file, and at least one at a time, swirl that paper into the water and let it go. It's an embodied prayer. It's a physical way of releasing. And the invitation is to fully embody that. And because we're an inclusive community, if you struggle with mobility and it seems like a long standing for you to be in line or you don't want to get up, Topher and I have a smaller bowl of water that we will bring to you so that you can do this part. So we just ask that you raise your hands when the music starts so that we know who you are and we can bring the ritual to you. And then we'll add the water at the end into this. So take a deep breath. Yeah.
Do we leave the paper in the water?
It's going to dissolve. It's cool. It's like magic. I love it. I was a scientist. I like nerdy things. And I'm a fan of office supplies. So since I'm new to you now, you know that. So are we ready? Do you think we could? Let's take a deep breath. Knowing, as we're told by Ernest Holmes, as we know that we come from spirit, that we are limitless. We release the things that don't serve us and create ways of expansion, places to be open to whatever is new and whatever ideas need to come forward. And we recreate the stories that we have been telling us in our own lives and in our brains. We know they're not true. They've never been true. We are divine beings. So I take a deep breath. And I take a moment and I think about what doesn't serve me anymore, while thinking about the things that have been lovely and wonderful in 2025. And what doesn't fit into there can stay behind me as I walk into 2026. You ready? Okay. You guys are ready to let this year go, aren't you? I am. Thank you, Lauren. Just give it a good swirl. always feels great to me. How's it feel? Another deep breath. Knowing you are not the same person right now as you were before you inhaled. You're completely, utterly limitless and beautiful. I'm going to close with a poem and then a prayer. I think this poem kind of conveys what I've been trying to say this morning. It's by one of my favorite poets, Andrea Gibson. Their pronouns, they, them. Andrea passed in October. I might get emotional about this. She meant a lot to me as a queer person, and she survived, or they survived for years, cancer, and it finally took them in October. And throughout their cancer journey, they learned to love more and more. There were moments, I'm sure they were down, but that was never put through in their poetry. This one, since we're moving from 2025 to 2026, and the conversation is to recreate the stories that we're taking with us and to know that we are limitless in how we renew. How the worst day of my life became the best. And they begin with a quote from Eckhart Tolle. When you are trapped in a nightmare, your motivation to awaken will be so much greater than that of someone caught up in a relatively pleasant dream. It feels so right. When I realized the storm was inevitable, I made it my medicine. I took 2 snowflakes on the tongue in the morning, 2 snowflakes on the tongue by noon. There were no side effects, only sound effects, reverb added to my lifespan, an echo that asked, what part of your life's record is skipping? What wound is on repeat? Have you done everything you can to break out of that groove? By nighttime, I was intimate with the difference between tying my laces and tuning the string section of my shoes. Made a symphony of walking away from everything that did not want my life to sing. Felt a love for myself so consistent, metronomes tried to copyright my heartbeat. Finally understood I am the conductor of my own life and will be even after I die. I, like the trees, will decide what I become: a porch swing, a church pew, an envelope that might be licked to be closed, kinky choice. But I didn't close. I opened and opened. I opened until I could imagine the pain was a sensation of my spirit not breaking. That my mind was a parachute that could always open in time, that I could wear my heart on my sleeve and never grow out of that shirt. That every falling leaf is a tiny kite with a string too small to see, held by the part of me in charge of making beauty out of grief. Let's take a deep breath, because we don't breathe enough in this community. I know that there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is the life of every single being here, in this room, online, around us, even when we don't like them. And I also know that this being that I call God is unconditional love, is joy, is peace, is not attached to what happened before, but has a really deep attachment to what happens going forward. That we were created to constantly renew, that we were limitless, that we have no need to hold on to anything that is in the before. Those are stories we can let go and imagine a new story in its place. I bless every prayer that has been released into this water in this community. I bless every person that was brave enough to pray. I bless all of you knowing that you are the unconditional love and the joyous community that I had been seeking for so long, and I am so grateful. I am thankful to that one Creator for bringing me here, for keeping me here, and insisting that I be up here talking to you. Thank you. Thank you for everything that I learned. Thank you for all the people that are here. Just thank you. My heart overflows. And I know that as our ancestor water is taking these prayers away, that they will be recreated into an energy that is positive, that is transformative, and that moves the world forward in a way that it works for everyone. And I release this knowing the truth of this,